Hey everyone, Austin here with Paragon City Games, again for another walkthrough Wednesday for you. This week we're going to be doing Sheriff of Nottingham. This is a game all about bluffing, all about bribing, and at the end of the day, all about seeing who can lie the best. Alright, so in this game, you are a merchant, and every once in a while you'll have the turn to be the sheriff. Now what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a bunch of goods into your shop. So this is your shop. You can have apples, bread, chicken, and cheese, while at the same time you're trying to deceive the sheriff into allowing you to get other goods into your shop. These are called contraband goods. Anything from a crossbow to mead to spices. These will give you extra points. But if you're caught, there is a very steep price to pay. Alright, so let's go over the rules now. First thing to know is how the turn works. So on these cards, it tells you the turn order. So the first thing you're going to do is the market phase. Now during the market phase, you're going to take the cards in your hand. You should have 6. And you're going to discard anywhere between 1 to 5 cards. Now the way you do this is you take the cards you want to discard, set them aside. Now if you notice up front here, I have a deck of cards and 2 discard piles. What I can do is I can either take cards from the discard piles or I can draw cards from the top of the deck. Now I cannot draw cards from the deck and then go to the discard pile. I actually have to draw cards from the discard pile first. So let's say I want this card, pull it from the discard pile, and then I can pull 2 from the top of the deck. Okay, and then when everybody has had a time to discard and draw, then the market phase is done. Next, you're going to go to the load your merchant bag phase. So this is your merchant bag. Everybody will have one, and it'll be in correspondence with whatever color you are. So I'm obviously blue. Now, what you do here is you decide on which goods you want to give to the sheriff, because it has to be inspected before it can make it into your store. So the way that this works is you'll choose anywhere between 1 to 5 cards. So let's say I want to do these 3 cards. Okay, so as you notice, I have 2 apples and I have 1 chicken. I'm going to put these into my bag and I'm going to click it to show that I am done with this phase. You can put, like I said, between 1 to 5 cards in here. They can all be the same. They can all be different. They can be legal goods or they can be contraband. It doesn't really matter what you put in the bag. Now the next phase is called the declaration phase. And this is when you've given your bag to the sheriff and you declare what you have. So I could say I have 3 apples or 3 cheese. The important thing to remember is that you truthfully have to declare how many cards are in the bag. So I can't say that I have 4 when I have 3. But I can lie about what's in the bag. So again, I can say 3 cheese, 3 apples, 3 bread, whatever I want. And when everybody is done declaring, you move to the next phase, which is the inspection phase. So whoever is the sheriff will now have time to look in the bag if they choose to. Now they can solicit bribes from the players to not look into the bag, or the players can bribe the sheriff to not look in their bag. Now the way you do this is you can do this with gold, you can do this with giving items from your shop, you can do this with future favors that relate to the game, or you can just beg and plead if you really want to. Note that if you do a bribe, the bribe doesn't really have to be honest. So for example, I could say, hey, I have a cheese in my bag. If you don't check it, I'll give you the cheese that's in my bag. Open the bag, there's no cheese. I don't have to give you the cheese. I don't have to give you that because there was no cheese in the bag. But if you do make a bribe and it is a truthful bribe, so if I have apples in here and I give him apples, I need to give him the apples. You can't lie to somebody, or you can't go back on your bribe when you've already made one. An easy way to make a deal so that way there's no confusion is to have both players say the word deal. So when you're done, say deal, and then there's no confusion whether there's been a deal made or not. Now, it's important to know that if the sheriff does inspect your bag and you are caught lying, so if I said I had 3 chickens when I only have 1, you have to pay a fee. And the fee is going to be on the bottom of the cards in this red area of the card. So for everything that's incorrect, you have to pay that amount to the sheriff. So if I had said I had 3 chickens, I would have to pay 2 for each of these apples that I lied about. So that would be a total of 4 to the sheriff. The sheriff gets the money. The cards that are confiscated will go to the discard piles, and the sheriff can put them wherever he wants or wherever they want in whatever order they want. And my goods will go to my market. So I'll put this under chicken. Now, let's say that you got some illegal goods or you got some illegal stuff through the sheriff. Let's say they don't inspect it. Let's say I get these apples through. These apples are now mine, and I put them in my store. Now what happens if you are telling the truth? Let's say I had 3 chickens in the store and the sheriff checks it. Well, I get to put my cards, or I get to put my chickens in the store, and the sheriff has to pay me whatever the fee was or whatever the penalty was if I had been wrong. So for each chicken, it's 2 coins. So the sheriff would then owe me 6 coins. So not only do I get my goods, I also get extra money from the sheriff. Now, if you get a contraband through, if the sheriff doesn't check and you get this through, you put this face down on the top of your store. So nobody knows what contraband you have, but they know how many contraband cards you have. If you get caught with contraband, same thing happens. You pay the fee to the sheriff, and the card goes to one of the discard piles. Now, at the end of the round, which is the last phase, the sheriff will move to the player to the left, and they will become the new sheriff. You'll do this until everybody has been able to be sheriff twice, and as soon as that has happened, then the game ends. The way you do the points is you get paid, you have these little coins, okay? So these coins literally represent coins. There's 1, 5, 20, and 50. You will start off with 50 at the beginning of the game, and these will be used, when you have to pay people money or when other people pay you money. So you'll count up the amount of coins you have, and you will also count up how much each of your items are worth. So each apple is worth 2, which means that I'll earn 2 points for each apple. You'll count the total of that up, and then you'll see who has the most amount of a specific good. So if I have the most amount of apples, I get what's called a king bonus. In this instance, the king bonus is 20. Now, if I have the second most, I get the queen bonus, which in this case is 10. If there's a tie, you split up the points evenly between the 2 people who have tied for those points. Count up however many points you have, and whoever has the most points wins. Now, we personally like this game because if you're into bluffing games, if you're into trying to play a bunch of mind games with your friends or with your family, this is the perfect game to do that with. It can get pretty intense after a while because you could lie enough times to get stuff through, and then people start thinking you're lying, and then you can start telling the truth, and suddenly people are just owing you a bunch of money. You could be that one person that always tells the truth, and that also plays mind games with your friends as well. And there's a bunch of craziness that can happen within this game. It's a ton of fun. We highly recommend it for parties. We recommend it when you're playing with friends, especially when you're playing with friends, maybe friends that you've known for a really long time who you can get away with a lot of these things, who think they know you, but you can throw them through some mental loops. You can play it with kids that are 10 and up. This is a 3 to 6 player game because obviously you need 2 players plus the sheriff. We very, very highly recommend this game at Paragon City Games, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at 801 Paragon or just send us a message on Facebook. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next week. Play some sleight of hand tricks and some mental. This one's really dirty.